Much later.
Stand up and throw your arms in the air for the love and the adoration of this beautiful little crowd here at the Inner Harbour on a lovely Sunday afternoon. Pardeep, are you ready for that challenge?
Not really.
You are a stunt driving hero. I don't think Evel Knievel went, I don't think so. The appropriate response from Pardeep was something more like, yeah! So Pardeep, are you ready? Okay. Maybe he's sensing what is about to happen. See, it's not going to be quite as simple as that. See, I'm going to be straddling the chairs. and you're going to ride through my legs. No. Also, Pardeep, I'm going to be attempting to juggle with fire and the machete at the same time that's happening. Now don't worry, I have special protective equipment available for everyone. I think I'll start with myself by putting on my safety and maintenance uniform, or as I like to call it, my S&M suit. Oh, you like the S&M? And don't worry, Party. We also have special protective equipment available for you as well. If you wouldn't mind putting on the highly suggestive and yet still family-friendly unicorn helmet, please. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'd like to take this moment right now to thank you, the audience, and especially all of my volunteers for helping me to do this show. I wouldn't be able to do it without either one of you. Let's give these guys a collective round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, because I believe that every person should be rewarded for their efforts, and also I feel that we live in a world of limitless possibilities, I'm going to give each and every one of you an opportunity to win $1 million. I have 4 lottery tickets here. Pardeep, you are a stunt driving hero. You get to choose first. Good luck to you, my man. There you go. What is your name, sir? Chris, one for you as well. Very good. And go ahead and take one there, ma'am. Excellent. And young lady, I'm so sorry, but children aren't allowed to play the lottery.
But their moms are.
Good one. Okay. Tell you what, ma'am, I'm going to give this to you. If it does happen to be $1 million winner, I want you to make sure that she has an opportunity to go to university if she wants to, okay? If she wants to. There you go. Good luck to you. Okay, now we have a nice group of people here on the side. Welcome. I know you came a little late, but it has taken a while to get a nice large audience here. You guys way down there on the side, I don't want anybody to come in front of you. Just move in a little bit closer. That'd be fantastic. As you can tell, I don't get to use amplification, so just in a little closer would just be great. Okay, Chris, do you have any back problems or anything like that? Okay, we'll see what we can do about that. If you wouldn't mind standing right over here in between the chairs, please. And yeah, turn around, face the water, please, Chris. And put your arms straight up in the air. Okay. Yeah, all the way up there, Chris. It's not that kind of show, okay? Relax. Okay, so get strong for me, Chris. Here we go, buddy. Ready? And up, 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 up. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, that just feels good, man. Coming over. Very good. Okay, Chris, if you'll notice right over here behind me, there are 2 torches leaned up against that post. If you wouldn't mind grabbing those 2 torches and standing right over by Pardeep, that'd be great. And Pardeep, if you could put on the helmet now, please, that would be fantastic. I think it'll fit, buddy. Just make sure the strap is down on the right-hand side, okay? There you go. Now you 2 right here. Hello, ladies. Hi. I don't want to endanger you in any way, okay? What is going to happen is everybody's going to count to 3. On 3, I want you both very carefully, without knocking the chairs, take 1 step forward, okay? Everybody, all together. Here we go. Okay, now come on, people. Let's have some fun here at the Inner Harbour, okay? That's what it's all about, okay? Let's try it one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ladies, take a step forward. Excellent. Young lady, you can go back and relax with your family. Enjoy the... Oh, no, that's a souvenir for you. It's a big budget show. Okay, and ma'am... Excellent juggling, Chris. Very good. Okay, ma'am, I have a very important job for you. I'm putting you in charge of fire security, okay? So what I want you to do is don the oven mitts. Okay. And if anything should happen, I'm counting on you to put the fire out. Okay. It's a very important job, okay?
I got it.
So if you wouldn't mind standing right over by Chris, that would be awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, now Pardeep, before we attempt this, I just want to discuss the danger that we are about to share, okay? If you don't do any funny stuff, I'll do my best to not drop the machete on you, okay? Now, what I mean by funny stuff, Pardeep, is don't come and abruptly stop right in front of me, okay? Or go through, circle around, and then decide that it'd be cool to go through again, okay? And the most important thing, Pardeep, please don't stop directly underneath of me and grind me with your horny helmet, okay? All these things have happened before the one that's ready, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again, my name is Alex Elixir. I am a professional street entertainer. This is what I do for a living. It's my job, and I love it. Now, like most street performers, I'm not paid by anybody to be here except for the people who enjoy my work. Today, that's you guys. So if you've had a good time, if you've had some laughs, I'm going to ask you to be as generous as you possibly can when I'm standing down here at the end with my hat out. It's pretty quiet now, isn't it? Chris, you would mind removing those 2 bags from the torches? And just tuck the bags under so they don't blow away, just underneath the carpet there. And if I could get you to stand over here on my right-hand side, please. Yeah, just tuck them in there, buddy. Beauty. And if I could get you to stand right over here, please, Chris, that'd be great. 1 torch in each hand. Hold them up, please. Pardeep, you're a brave man. You're a patient man. Come on over. I want to wish you good luck. And seriously, I hope things... Yeah, your head's on fire. Okay, Pardeep, go over to your ride, buddy. Chris, back up for me, please. A little bit more. And very carefully, my man, right into here. Okay, go for it. Hey, okay, good man. Yeah, whoa. Okay, good. If you wouldn't mind grabbing that machete from the block, please. I just kicked the block over to where the carpet is because I don't want anybody to trip on it. Same thing with that torch. Let's get the torch off the pitch too. Thank you very much, Chris. Whoa. I don't like the look on your face. Very carefully, Chris. Back up a little bit. Very carefully, Chris. Right into here. Go for it, my man. Go. Big round of applause for Chris. Chris, the back. Enjoy the rest of the show with your band. Have a good one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is going to be the grand finale of the show. It's because I'm a Canadian.
Much later.
Yeah, that's Harbor 60 off the air for a minute. That condominium unit or building you see down there, it's got like a, I don't know, like an atrium up there on the top right-hand corner. That one sold for $3.2 million last year. 2 floors. It's likely one of the most expensive condominium units in Victoria. David Foster even has a place in there. These 2 little buildings right up here in front of us, right in the corner, they were 2 of the first buildings built outside of the fort. And if you take a look at them when we go by, you'll notice that they both have bars in the window. And that's because the larger of the 2 was the bank and the other one was the jail. The fort itself, I'll show you where it was on the way back, but it was named Fort Victoria, but originally it was named Fort Camelsack, and then we were Fort Albert, and then we were Fort Victoria, because the First Nations people called this area Camelsack. The Americans, when they thought they were going to own Victoria, called it Albert, and when it turned out that the 49th parallel dipped below the island, the border dipped below the island, they changed it to Victoria in honor of the Queen. 49 parallel is actually an hour's drive north of here. So they really thought we were going to be American. just up there off, well, almost straight across from your right is Chinatown. Chinatown here used to be a very big concern. Now it's only about 8 blocks long, but at one point it was the second largest in North America next to San Francisco. But that was during the gold rush. A lot of Asians moved to Victoria. They opened up a lot of businesses, including gambling halls and opium dens. Because when the miners were coming through here, it was 400 men to every woman. So they needed a little diversion. If you want to do any shopping in this town, Laura Yates and Laura Johnson are elected the two best areas for ladies' clothes. Value Village for men.
You wrote the haunted tour.
Now this on our right is what all that's left of industry here. We've got a sand and gravel place, island asphalt, barge cement, and a steel recycler just up ahead of us. At one point, it was all industry down here. Petroleum tank farms, lumber mills, paint factories. Just, we had 5 shipyards all located here at one time, building ships. Now it's all gone. Even Germany builds our ferries. Now, Point Ellis House is up at the top of that white walkway ahead of us. I was Googling that place and read one ghost story about it, how this couple showed up for a tour. They took the tour, and as they were leaving, this lady came outside and said, "Can I help you?" And they said, "No, we're here for the tour, thanks, it was very nice." And I guess the lady said, "Well, who gave it to you?" Some lady in a blue dress, she took her to the bedroom and the blue dress was laid out on the bed.
Oh no.
But they do. There were three generations of O'Reillys that lived in that house. And the Grand Matriarch, O'Reilly, he was the gold commissioner, he was the chief magistrate, he was like the who's who of Victoria. In 1975, they gave up the house to the BC government. They made it a heritage place. And it's as if you're walking back in time when you go in there. They left all the furniture, everything. Just like it was 80, 90 years ago.
So is that a museum then?
It is kind of, except that they do tours through it. If you take a walk through it, and you have to stay on this little, they don't let you just wander willy-nilly, but it's kind of like a Chinese houseboy is giving you the tour. It is really cool. Then you can go up the back lawn, like I said, sit down, they bring you out cream and tea and sandwiches and scones and all kinds of food. And I think they're charging about $24, which is not a bad price. This place, obviously, recycles metal, mainly cars. When it's up and running, they pick up the car and they'll drop it in that hopper, which is right straight across from us now where the leg is. When it comes out the other end, it's in little pieces smaller than your hand. They're just unloading a barge with more cars. And then once they chop it all up, it's loaded onto a barge. It goes down to, I think it's Bellingham, and it's made into rebar. Every once in a while, they squish a vehicle that has a propane tank in it. And I guess I spoke to a girl that works in the offices over here. She said the windows just rattle when that thing explodes.
My dad retired last year, but he worked for CSAC for most of his life.
Looks like they're loading the barge. Normally Selkirk Landing here 30 years ago was a giant sawmill. Now it's condos, houses, townhouses, offices, restaurants, schools, home to the rowing club and the dragon boats down here. You're not American, are you? Okay. We swamped the American boat last year. One of our patrol boats took off too quick, and the weight hit the American dragon boat and flipped it. The next day in the paper, they said that responding to an emergency, they didn't respond to any emergency. They just went straight across the harbor and into there. Just a young guy on the throttle. And the bridge ahead of us is the Selkirk Bridge. It was a railway bridge until the mill got logs. Train would come across it, loaded with logs, tip the cars into the water, and that fed the mill. Very efficient. Now it's part of the Galloping Goose Trail, which is part of the Canada Trail. We actually have two boats up here that are for sale if you guys are interested in moving. So this is really the end of the Victoria Harbour, and now we'll be entering the Gorge waterway. And this is like Squatter's Corner up in here. These guys have figured out that you can push, pull, or drag a boat up in here, live on it, and nobody can do anything to you. The BC government says it's a federal matter, the feds say it's a provincial matter, and then they both say it belongs in the lap of Transport Canada, who governs waterways. So nothing can be done. Personally, I don't have a problem with it, so long as they keep their stuff out of the waterway. But you'll notice this guy is for sale. This guy has a guest cottage on the other side of his ramp. It's also up for sale.
A guest cottage.
It's for the mother-in-law state. I think she died, so. And then up ahead we have the condo units, 3 tied abreast.
Oh God, there's 3 of them tied together. That's ridiculous. The condo units.
What do they do about their sewage and stuff? They got somebody to come pump out their tank and all that?
I've heard that you can see toilet paper floating in the water every so often. I have never seen anyone up here pumping them out. I don't know if they live on them so much during the day. They're likely downtown baking rather than staying on board much. But they do come here to sleep.
And they're some pretty scary, like an older boat.
Yeah. Most of them, the motors do not work in.
Get a kick out of this one.
You know,
Oh God, look at that one.
Noah's Ark here.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Even his dinghy's got a lot of water in the back end.
Oh no.
Anyway, they have found a way to beat the system a little bit. They had the same problem over in Vancouver just before the Olympics, and Vancouver just basically said the heck with human rights, and they went in there and they towed them all out. False Creek, you remember? Yeah, False Creek. Yeah. It can be done. It's just you don't know if it's going to end up in court or not.
You know, that's what gets me in a lot of ways. If you think about World War II, what was it all about? My dad was in it. Both of them. For our rights.
Yep. I usually tell people about I understand that it was the ex-rum runners during Prohibition. And if you look at the boat that's on the side of the house there, it's about that era. It's got a tarp over it.
Oh, it is, yeah.
The boat is pulled up on a set of skids, rails up beside the house, and there's a very old winch sitting right in front of the boat. They're loading it up. I don't know why else you have a winch sitting out front.
Yeah, let's see, you got a load of, they're getting a load in your boat.
Now, this area used to be, like you saw in the pictures, it was mansions, really. And up until about 1940 or so, what they didn't have up in here was sewers. So everything these people did went into the waterway. Plus there were beef slaughtering houses up here, canning plant. So by 1940, it stank so bad in here that you could actually buy a house pretty cheap if you could stand the smell. The last 50 years between the dredging and the water cleanup, and the fact that sewers have gone in, the waterway is clean now, and we do have salmon are back, the coho and the chinook. The herring are back up here, river otter, so people are swimming in it again. Up here, you're lucky, because if you don't have one, you can't build one. The dock has to be right in the legal description of your property. So this little house here, you see a little yellow one sitting up there. I googled that to see how much it was worth. They're asking 1.1 million for it. And part of that is the fact that it does have a dock. That likely adds on a couple $100,000 right there. No skiing, no tubing, no jet skis. Basically, really just kayaking and rowboats. Portledge Inlet. Yeah.
That's what you see from the highway.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it goes on up there about another 3 or 4 miles, just about as wide. And it actually looks like a lake, but this is the only thing that's joining it to the ocean. So you can imagine when we get, the water here goes up and down by about 10 feet from a high tide to a low tide. Right. So when you get that much water trying to come through that little gorge there, it really does create a lot of rapids almost right out to here.
Okay, so this is actually known as the gorge right where this bridge is.
That is the gorge.
The rest of it's considered like Inner Harbour or
Well, Portledge Inlet, yes.
Yeah. What about this section there?
This is the Upper Harbour, or Upper Gorge waterway. So we have, basically we got the Lower Harbour, the Inner Harbour, the Upper Harbour, the Gorge waterway, which we're on now, and then Portledge Inlet up further. A lot of names for one piece of water. But at very low tide, you'll actually see the rocks sticking up above the water here. It's very shallow. And Gorge Park, which is on the other side of this, it's got a little seawall that goes around it. It's a nice walk or a hike, whatever you want to call it. And then next to that is the Gorge Golf Course. Docks over to our right here at low tide, they are sitting high and dry in the mud, like about 50, 60 feet from water line at low tide. Did something wrong, broke his back. They pulled him out, he died. People just quit using the tower after that and gradually it disappeared. But at medium tide here, there's only 15 feet of water. So when you're 110 feet up, it wouldn't be that hard to go up. And before it was a swim club, diving club. It was an Asian chap, Chinese chap that owned it, Curtis Point. And he had small cabins on there, housed his concubines, ladies of the evening. There was actually one Asian chap that had basically a house built over the water. You'll see pilings here and there, and it was a house of ill repute. You could stop on your way home in your boat and do whatever. And when they opened up their opium den down in Chinatown, an opium license cost you $250 for the year. You could buy a house for $350 or an opium license for $250. He's got the cherry up and running, or is that water coming off the side? Maybe he's washing it. Really apartment blocks, but they are old age. No, old people's homes. The brick one, the red one, is the Salvation Army one, and the other one is income assisted.
I can't imagine old people going all the way up and down those stairs.
I don't know. We got one older lady that lives in the light-colored one on the second floor. She waves to us all the time, and she's got to be in her 80s. Little cherry too, that boat dates back to the 40s, and it was used to go up and down the coast and count logs when we would charge the lumber companies by like a stumpage fee. That's how they kept track of how many logs they were cutting. It would be a very lonely life. Yeah, these things here sticking up out of the water on our right, those pilings, cement pillars, that would have been an old boathouse, swim club, house of ill repute, who knows.
So if you have pilings like that, can you build a dock? No.
I would go down and search the records. Like I said, if you're allowed to, it would be right on your description of your property. But I'm guessing no, because nobody's doing it. This guy expanded his dock last year, and yet nobody seems to be saying anything, so... Have you folks been to Craigdare Castle at all?
I was years ago.
And that was John Dunsmuir's place, who was very well off. He was the coal baron of Victoria, Vancouver Island, and these pilings on our left were actually belonged to his daughter. That was her boathouse. When she got married, he came out here and he built her little mansion there, and the boathouse where those pilings are, and that was her wedding gift. Nice daddy. She used to have an actress by the name of Tallulah Bankhead come and visit her all the time. And I guess Tallulah liked to run around in the nude, and the story is the cook wouldn't feed her unless she put clothes on. On the rocks how high the water actually goes up.
Where are we at right now? The tide's still coming in, right?
Yeah, we're about halfway. I think it's 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay.
Anyway, all this green space beside us is Banfield Park, and that used to be an old dairy farm. The government took it over and made it a nice green space.
Take one both of yous together.
Well, that's okay. You want to take care?
Yes. Would you mind, please?
Buy one of these folks.
Yeah, wires.
I think that's where he has his fire pit in the middle there.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like he barbecues there, honey.
Yep. Okay, so a whole stack of wood inside the cabin there. He looks like a bit of a collector.
Yeah, junk collector.
Straight ahead of us, you'll see purple martins are important to us because they will eat their own weight in mosquitoes pretty well every day. They migrate back and forth from Brazil just about the same time every year. If you're interested in taking up paddling or canoeing, they'll actually rent you one there. It just seems really strange that they're loading the barge. And over on our right we have the rail yards. It used to be when Vancouver Island had a lot of lumber and coal and fish, etc. Everything was moved by rail, and that area was where they marshaled all the rail cars. And pretty well all of that is gone now, so they took up the railway tracks, put in townhouses, and they call it the rail yards, and it looks like they're building more of them in there. It is what you call a very close community.
I don't think there's any places that aren't like that anymore.
Yeah, it's just... That's my neighbors for about a week. Just on a hot day, it's really something else. Yes, Hamilton may be getting an NHL team, who knows? It is likely one of the most environmental Navy training vessels, and the way he gets them out is with this apparatus the other side of the wharf. That whole unit with the two high sides on it actually comes into the water on railway tracks just about out to where we are. It can handle up to 120,000 gross ton ship. When they get it on there, they pull it up, they pull the ship ahead, and then it's like a big dialing mechanism. They can turn the ship and slide it off onto a siding. Now those ships that are sitting there, one of those weighs about 40,000 gross tons. So it can handle just about 3 times that size.
So they already have its own dry dock facility?
Yes, they do. Mm-hmm.
Why, I guess...
Who knows? These are over here, had a guy on that works this place, and he said the only reason they're in there is to repaint the bottoms on them. That's it. Those things are only 7 years old, those ships, and already the bottom paint is going on them. The blue bridge ahead of us, we are going to be replacing that. That is about 80 years old now. When it was built, it cost $750,000 to build. The new one is going to cost about $77 million to build. It's classified as a vestibule bridge because it opens up in 2 separate pieces. Those cement things you see hanging off the end, those are 780 tons of cement on each one. Which means that to open the bridge, which weighs 350 tons, it only takes a 70 horsepower electric motor taxi to lift that bridge up. And there's a guy that sits in there from 8 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon every day, just waiting for somebody to phone or radio him and ask him to open the bridge up. Cement things hanging off the end. They're actually hollow and they have cement blocks inside of them.
How long's the railway bridge been out of service? Years?
No, actually it's only a few months. A couple of months, not that long.
What's on the other side of the road? Other than the naval yard? Just the naval yard, or is there industries over there too?
There are industries over there, but not many. It's pretty well all gone now. This would, when the railway comes in from up Island, it actually comes in on this side and goes across, and then it dead ends. It stops right there at the end. So that when we used to have the E&N rail line carrying the passengers, that's where it would come into town.
Oh, it comes from the north or that way?
Yes.
Oh,
That way.
yeah, great. Okay. See, on the Victoria Station's on this side.
Yes. So they're talking about when they do the new bridge that they won't put in that piece.
Right.
Stop on this side.
I see. Yeah, okay, I had that backwards. I thought it was coming the other way.
Yeah, there are warehouses and things, but we don't really get. I mean, most of our freight comes into Vancouver and it's trucked over.
Right.
Hey, a little story about a totem pole, 1974. It is. It's our Commonwealth Games coming up. And 3 First Nations tribes got together, 11 carvers, and they carved that totem pole that is right up in front of us there. At the moment, it's only 40 feet tall. But in 1974, it was 180 feet, 3 inches tall. It was taller than the Delta Hotel here. That would only be going up about 150 feet. So it was way up there. Anyway, it took them about 3 months to carve the totem pole. When they were finished, they put it up there with a little red light on the top of it. Okay, the airlines absolutely hated it.
I can see why.
Yeah. For 3 years it was up there and everybody complained about it. Even the people that lived in the Songhees here didn't like it because of the 4 large guide wires that were holding it up there. It wasn't that pretty. 3 years goes by, everybody complaining, and it's too bad, too bad. Well, the little red light on the top burned out. How do you change a light bulb on a 180-foot totem pole? Sacred totem pole. My suggestion was you get a lager, a 6-pack of beer, and say, here. Go change the light bulb. Anyway, they couldn't figure out how to do it, so they cut it into 3 pieces. 2 pieces were taken over to the reserve in Esquimalt, and the 3rd piece, which is 40 feet high, still is here. But we did make it into the Guinness Book of World Records for 3 years. I guess if they did that nowadays, they'd have a solar panel or something on the top, and it would have never come down. And beside that, you can just see the tops of those red tulip things sticking up. And that was the Hangman Square right next to the fort. Every Sunday they take guys out. Justice was swift back then. But we went from 450 people just before the gold rush to 20,000 people within a year. Lots went from $25 to $2,000 almost immediately. So there was a lot of people going through this town. Up ahead of us, we have the legislative buildings, designed by James Rattenbury, young man from England, very young. He was only about 25, 26 years old. When he came over here, he had never built a building. He had apprenticed under his uncle over in England, but he had never built anything. He came over here, and he was very pretentious, shall we say. He was a scoundrel. He ran an ad in the local paper proclaiming that he was here and all this experience that he had. When the government put out tenders to build the legislative buildings, he submitted one. He actually won. He was about 26 years old at that time. And he lied about all the buildings he had built, but who can check your resume? Anyway, he got it. It took him about 5 years to build it. His budget was supposed to be $500,000. He spent almost $1 million because he really didn't know what he was doing. But he did go on. After that, he became a very famous architect. He did Banff Springs Hotel, the Chateau Laurier. He did the first part of the Empress, which you saw the picture of, the oldest part, which is on the right. He did the steamship line, which is in front of us, numerous court buildings, etc. He became a very, very famous architect. And a little later in life, he decided he wanted a divorce. His wife wouldn't give him one. he actually built a wall down the center of their house. He said, okay, you live on this side, I'm living on the other side. He took up with a young dancer here in Victoria. And at that point, the Victoria Society, they didn't want any more to do with him. So he went back to England with his young dancer, and he started hitting the bottle. And she took up with the chauffeur. So he's drunk at his desk one night. The young man, the chauffeur, comes in and bludgeons him to death. The young man ends up going to jail. The wife stabs the girlfriend, stabs herself to death. And that's the end of the Rattenberries. So from a very successful architect to being killed by a jealous lover. The sequoia tree that's right up in front of us here, that's about 150 years old now. That was a gift from California. There's a tree we're looking at last night. There are free tours. I think they're running now for the legislative buildings if you want to go through them.
Next one's at 5.
Pardon?
Next one's at 5. I was up there already.
And of course our docks are pretty well all empty now, waiting for the switcher boats to arrive this weekend. That will be one party town. Switcher Festival. Sailing boats.
For the Delta for the Emperor.
Yeah. It's our big regatta for the year.
40 in about 7 minutes.
Pardon? This weekend coming.
Oh, really?
Yep, they'll be starting to arrive pretty well any time.
We were surprised that there was no fireworks there yesterday. Victoria Day?
That's true.
In Victoria.
There wasn't?
No.
No. What, did they just discontinue that recently, or has there never been?
I don't ever remember there being any. I know we have July 1st, but
Well, you remember having fireworks on Victoria Day in Ontario.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny they don't
They
have
had
it
it
here.
listed for all the other cities, like in Vancouver they had some yesterday and Toronto, but none for here. They thought it was